What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to talk about how to collect Pokemon cards. That's a very general topic and subject that I think a lot of people actually would enjoy a video on. All these content creators, all these YouTubers, and to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen one. I don't think I've ever seen a video of anyone. So I'm trying to think outside of the box here and think about topics that I would want as a new collector, even as a collector that's already seasoned, that's been doing this a couple years. How do you go about collecting Pokemon cards? Now, for a lot of people that are longtime collectors, they're like, what do you mean? You just collect the sets as they come out. Well, it's not that easy for everybody. Some people get into the hobby and they're brand new into the hobby and they're like, where do I even start? Do I want to be chronological? Do I want to start from the very beginning, from the vintage 1999 era and work my way up, which is kind of my approach and partially why I had some financial issues in the past year, which I've got worked out now, but this is a very expensive hobby. It's very expensive. And I don't think that there's enough people actually talking about how to go about doing this. So I'm going to try and break that down as best I can. My computer is my work computer. So the computer that you guys usually see where I talk about pricing is actually my work computer from the bar. And I forgot to bring home the charging cord. Long story short, not going to be using that computer. Won't be talking about pricing at all in this video. More so, and I can do that in another video if you guys like this video and comment, hey, I'd like to see more videos like this. Talk about how you would go about collecting cards through each set. But at first, I'm going to tell you what I did. So what I did was I was just randomly collecting the cheapest cards that I could find on eBay or Mercari. And that was kind of a waste of time because one, looking for the cheapest cards doesn't mean that you're going to find the best condition cards. And two, I was also trying to make money and learn how if I bought a couple of these now I can sell a couple of them. Well, when I tried selling singles, old beat up worn single cards like holographic cards like from Fossil and Jungle and Base Set, I was like, man, this is hard stuff to sell. I also collected the theme decks because I wanted to play cards with my wife. At the time we hadn't had our kid yet, and so at night we would play a card game or two card games using the different theme decks that are behind me. So that was a lot of fun. But the more I got into it, the more I became more of a collector than someone who just wanted to relive their past and play a couple card games. I wanted to really dive deep. And here we are today where we've got graded cards, slabs, modern, vintage, booster boxes, theme decks, you name it, whatever. And I kind of wanted to pass down my knowledge to the next person, my very limited knowledge from doing this only a couple years now. And the modern even less time because I didn't really want modern. At first, I was like, I'm not going to pick up any modern cards. I'm not interested in modern. I don't care. And then as they released Evolving Skies and I saw Umbreon and Rayquaza on there, I was like, oh my God, I have to have this set. And then it grew into now I have to have all the sets. So I went about collecting the cards, trying to find the cheapest prices at first. And then gradually I realized there was no organization whatsoever. And then I was like, all right, scrap this. I'm not going to have all the cards I want. There's too much out there. There's such a vast Pokemon world that it's just not going to work out for me. So I kind of picked a niche. You can pick a niche. You can pick a small sector, an area that you're really, really passionate about. For some people, it might be collecting booster boxes. It might be theme decks. It might be graded cards. It might be certain boxes or ETBs. You have an ETB collection. Pick the kind of thing that you want to specialize in. Well, I'm so OCD. I'm trying. You know what? Doesn't matter. Anyways, pick your niche. So my niche was really Pokemon theme decks. I found myself constantly looking for theme decks. I found that it was a lot of value that I was getting. I was getting a whole stack of cards, and I could play the game with. Now we have our daughter Aspen, so when she grows up, I can actually play the card game with her because I've got all these pre-constructed theme decks. Now you can make your own deck, especially with all the modern sets coming out. You can build a deck not only to play with your family or your friends, but also to play in tournaments. When you want to be a competitive Pokemon player. But how I went about it was I kind of picked my niche. So once I kind of collected all of the theme decks, then I was like, okay, where do I go from here? And so I decided, and my wife did not like this when I said it, I decided that I was going to collect every single set from the bottom to the top. Now, this excludes Sun and Moon and Black and White era. And maybe even some Heart Gold, Soul Silver as well. I decided that I was going to stick to Wizards of the Coast. Any booster box that came out pretty much up to 2007, and there's still a couple that I need, 6 or 7 that I need. And I don't even know how I'm going to display all of them when I get the last booster box. There's no room in this game room anymore. But I had a plan to collect all of the Wizards of the Coast sets, and that's actually another interesting video I can show you guys. My base set. So first, oh God, it's so hard because there's so much stuff to go over here. I wanted to chronologically collect. So I started with the hardest goal that you could start with, arguably, which is, you know, I guess if you went after every chase card in every set, like that would be the hardest goal, to get like a PSA 9 or PSA 10 chase card. And what I mean by PSA, for those of you that might not know, I'm talking about the grading scale. PSA, CGC, Beckett, those are all the typical grading companies, and a lot of collectors deem PSA 8, 9, 10, Beckett 8, 9, 10, CGC 8, 9, 10. 8, 9, and 10. Those are kind of the solid higher grades. I don't really care about that. I have plenty of 5s and 6s and 4s for more expensive cards, especially in what I'm about to tell you. So my first goal was to collect the entire first edition base set graded. I knew that it would take too much time to buy these cards and then send them off to get grading. And at the time, grading was $50 a card, which is insane. Right now, grading is $15 a card. So you could actually accomplish this goal without paying the premium that I paid on all these cards. But I went down the line and bought every single first edition base set card graded already. You know, the hollows, some of them are 4, 5, 6, 7. None of them are 8, 9, or 10. At least I don't think so. But that was just because grading was expensive, and there really weren't a lot of first edition hollows that were in great condition on the market at the time that I was looking anyways. Now, that collection is still not done. I am missing, you guessed it, the most important card, the first edition Charizard. The Shadowless base set first edition Charizard. There was a point where I was bidding on one for $4,800. Well, that's not true. I put in a bid of $4,600 or $4,700, and then someone bid it out from under me at $4,800. It was an ungraded raw first edition Charizard. Highly risky purchase. Highly risky, because any little indentation or scratch that you don't see, that's not pictured in the photos, you're going to be kicking yourself for buying a card for that much money, at least in my opinion. I know there are collectors out there that I haven't had the chance of meeting or conversing with yet, but I know that they're out there, and they have very high-end collections. PSA 9, PSA 10, $5,000 holographic cards. I mean, and they've got boatloads of them. There are collectors out there, some of the most revered YouTubers and content creators that are Pokemon based have collections like that, and they don't brag about it and they don't talk about it, even though I think it would be very cool to see some of their personal collections, which is kind of what I want to do on this channel a little bit, just to show the world that, you know, people do have this stuff. You can get it. It just takes time. So I'm still going after first edition Charizard. After the first edition set, I decided, you know what, I'm going to take a break from this Charizard. I'll come back to it when I have the money and can just buy one outright. That may take a couple months, but that's why you don't see me doing mail day videos. My primary content, my base content used to be mail day videos, and it was me opening up all the cards I was buying or collectibles or things that I planned to sell and showing them to you guys. And that was great, but that was costing me a lot of money to do that content. And obviously my channel wasn't monetized, so the only purpose was for me to actually show you guys what I was purchasing. Whereas now I'm talking about different aspects of the hobby and how to collect, and, you know, how it's an investment. And that's stuff I was never doing before, despite how I felt about it. I think because now I have an audience, it matters more to me to get this message out to the world. Next thing I did though, I went into the unlimited sets. I just kind of realized how hard it was to complete base set first edition. I kind of put Jungle first edition, Fossil first edition, any first edition set. I pretty much, even though I have the booster boxes for first edition sets, I pretty much put them on the back burner because I just realized I was not financially ready to take on a goal like that. So fresh into the hobby. And a couple years by no means is spending a long time in the hobby. I mean, that the hobby is only 2 decades old, 2 decades and some change, right? But it takes that long to build up a collection of really high value cards. I mean, the guys who stuck with the hobby or even got in when cards weren't priced that highly, they're reaping all the benefits and rewards now. They invested in something they liked and they're being rewarded. And I wish that it worked like that in anything in the world, but Pokemon is kind of a global phenomenon that is it's just a rocket. You know, it's just going up in value, and some things don't make a lot of sense, but for the most part, in terms of the singles and holographic cards from the older sets not being worth very much, some things to me don't make very much sense. But in terms of the modern cards and some of the alternate arts, like, oh my God, prices are skyrocketing on these boxes, on these alternate arts, and it's like it shows a very strong support and demand for this hobby. But so I basically put all the first edition on the back burner. Then I went into all the unlimited sets. We did base set, we did jungle, we did fossil, we did rocket, we did gym heroes, we did gym challenge. And then I moved into, let's see, gym challenge. Well, let's see, what booster boxes are behind me? We had Neo Genesis. I think this is all in order. We had Neo Genesis, Neo Discovery, Neo Revelation, Neo Destiny. What am I forgetting? Oh, we had base set 2. I put base set 2 on the back burner because I felt like it was mostly reprints. Even though base set 2 is amazing for the holos, the Cosmo Holo pattern that base set 2 started is amazing. So then we had Neo Destiny, Neo Discovery. I'm trying to think. What am I missing here? What am I missing? Neo Destiny, Neo Discovery, Neo Genesis. I don't think I'm missing anything. And then we had Expedition, which is kind of when the e-reader phase starts. And what I mean by e-reader is basically Game Boy had this attachment called an e-reader. You could stick it on your Game Boy SP, and not a Game Boy Color, or at least I don't think a Game Boy Color. You could stick it on your Game Boy SP or your Game Boy Advance, and what I had. I think I had a Game Boy Advance first. This Game Boy Color is actually my sister's, but she never claimed it. And she still hasn't claimed it. Anyways, I started with the e-reader set. So that, anyways, explaining the e-reader and how that works, you stick it into the Game Boy and you can actually scan in your Pokemon from the Pokemon cards that you're collecting, which I think was phenomenal. I did not get the chance to experience that. I may at some point way down the road do a video where I talk about the e-reader and the Game Boy and how cool it is to scan in Pokemon. I think that's a fantastic thing. But that started with Expedition, I believe. So this is the end of Wizards of the Coast, and that's what I set out to do because it was a fairly easy goal, very expensive still. For the average collector, still going to be expensive. But then I had the sets Expedition, Aquapolis, and Skyridge. Skyridge is regarded as one of the best sets that come out of all time. Any of the Skyridge Hollows are expensive. Any of the secret rares are expensive. And then you've got the infamous Skyridge Charizard, which I do have a Skyridge Charizard, but it's the reverse, which isn't worth nearly as much as the Crystal regular hollow secret rare. Anyways, moving forward, then you've got all these EX. You've got Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Legend Maker, and Team Rocket Returns, and Dragon Frontiers, and Hold On Phantoms, and EX Sandstorm, and Sapphire Ruby right behind me. And we've got Power Keepers and Unseen Forces. These were not a part of the plan, okay? It ended up being that I wanted a little bit of everything. So what my point is here is not everybody has a strategy that works. Not everybody has a plan. And sometimes when you go for really high reaching goals, it gets hard. You get very close. Another content creator talked about this. You don't want to set your sights too high. You don't want to do everything but the most expensive cards, because then you get to that and it's a huge hurdle to get over, getting that last card. So the recommendation from another content creator was go after the most valuable cards first, because you will always be able to find the bulk and find all those other cards. For me, I found it really fulfilling to be filling in my binders, which binders aren't even the best way to store your cards. Let's be honest here. Storing your cards is probably better in little, acrylic plastic boxes and just stack them flat. Somebody might grill me for that, but that's how I started collecting, and those cards are all very flat and very neat, and they don't get damaged. Whereas, maybe the hollows rubbing against each other, even though they're all sleeved, could damage them. I don't know. But I feel like binders are a no-go. And yet, and there's specific binders that you have to look for too, and that could be a whole other video as well. But I do have 2 binders that I've been wanting to show the channel, including my first edition graded collection. I've been wanting to show this stuff to the channel for so long, but I am a completionist. I'm not just going to show you guys a video of my 70% completed sets. It's just too depressing for me. I have to complete everything. All of the hollows, all of the uncommons, all the trainers, maybe not the trainers, but mostly all of the Pokemon. You feel me? And especially if I were going to show it not completed, I would at least want every page of the holographic cards filled. And that's my next point. Here's what I would advise most people to do. Most of us want the most valuable cards in the collections. Like, even when you have so much stuff, it's not about quantity. It's about the quality of the cards that you have in your collection. And I think any seasoned investor, collector, player is going to say something similar to that. That if you really value the cards as an investment and a collectible, you are much better off looking for specific cards on the market, learning everything that you can about the prices and different price points and what they've sold throughout the year, and basing your offers or your bids on that. I think base set first edition, Charizard first edition is a great example of, like, get that keystone card knocked out before you try to collect the rest of first edition base set. I'm old school. I really like the vintage. I will always like the vintage no matter what. So I felt that I had to complete that part before. In hindsight, I could have made this more of a modern collector's channel, and I could have talked about just Sword and Shield, buy this stuff, buy tons of cases, but that wasn't my experience. And I'm telling you guys what I experienced going through this hobby and how I spent so much money trying to complete everything, trying to get a little bit of everything. I think pick a niche, pick a thing that you really like to collect and start in that little niche. And as far as the sets, I think a lot of people do this, and I think it's very smart. A lot of people always say, don't try and pull these cards in these newer sets. Just buy the singles. I think you can still get good luck pulling these cards, but that's right when the set drops, or a month or two when the prices are fairly lower, and you can afford to buy a bunch of product and then at least open up a good bit of it for decent price. Whereas, you might go into the store and spend $50 on a collector box, and there's 8 packs, and then you open another box, and then before you know it, you're $400 deep for 2 booster boxes or 1 booster box and a half worth of packs. You want to be efficient if you're planning on opening product. You really want to get that bottom dollar, so you got to get the sets right when they come out. You can't say that about the vintage sets because they've already gone and passed. So, I think those prices are only going to get higher for the vintage stuff, and I feel the same way about the modern product as well. But in terms of picking out certain cards, I think a good strategy for all the sets that I just talked about, from base set to jungle and fossil and rocket and all the Neo sets and the end of the Wizards era sets, and then all these EX sets here, Crystal Guardians. There's so many sets that have come out in the past 2 decades plus. There's so many sets that have come out. I think you were best off going after the most valuable hollows in each of those sets and branching down, working down from the hardest things to get, and then going into all the hollows, and then doing your commons, uncommons, and trainer cards, and maybe some of the other secret rares last. Like usually there's 1 or 2 secret rares in each set that you have to have. You know, they're pivotal to that set, and you have to have them. Gotta have them. And I get that. For me, I would kind of wish I had taken that route and gone after some of the more noteworthy cards, because once that supply dries up, it's gone. People that are serious about this hobby, they're never selling their collections. They don't plan to. They plan to hand them down to their kids in hopes that their kids hand them down to their kids, and this becomes an antique investment of some sort. I think that's what a lot of the greatest collectors and investors are doing and plan to do. I don't even think, in some cases, I don't even think it matters about the money. That's what these modern sets are for, so you can sit on as an investment and sell down the road. Whereas this vintage stuff, I really feel that you're best off starting in the vintage area, because it's going to be gone. There will come a day, no matter how many were printed, no matter how much bulk of base set and jungle and fossil is out there, one day in the future, that stuff will be hard to find. And so I really think fundamentally the vintage stuff is the way to go. Get that box checked off, so to speak. And then when you move into modern, there won't be a lot of catch up to do. Like, it's very easy to catch up to the modern hobby, but and that's as a collector. And here's another thing. If you're just collecting and you have no aspirations whatsoever to invest per se, you don't care about buying cases or booster boxes to sit on, then I highly recommend you to just buy singles. Just buy the singles. If you're going after that card that's in a certain set that everyone is talking about, and you think that, oh, I'm going to be the lucky kid, I want to tell you that will be the case. But I can't say that because it hasn't been my experience. Even the 5 packs of Silver Tempest that I've opened up for my subscribers, every time we hit a new milestone, every 100 subscribers, I'm going to open up some packs. Even doing that, I didn't really get amazing pulls. And I think I was still pretty lucky, but I have pretty high standards. I got a Jirachi Radiant, which, by the way, guys, I left this out overnight, and it warped. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, it's pretty straight now, but yeah, you can see it on this side. It's a little bit curved. I left it out overnight, and I think it'll be fine in the top loader, but I left it out overnight. I don't know if these Radiant cards, there's a different foil on there. I don't know if it would happen to any of these newer cards with the humidity and the cold and the weather changing. I don't know. But this Radiant card got pretty curvy. But anyways, we got a Radiant. We got this Crobat for those of you that saw my video last night. For the subscription milestone before that, we got a Rapidash and this really cool reverse Raichu. I love Raichu, so that was pretty cool to pull. But yeah, those were the pulls, and I'm pretty happy with those. But honestly, usually I'm not that lucky. I don't even get a holo every 2 or 3 packs. So that was pretty lucky. So I highly advise you guys to just go after those singles. And I can do another video when I have the computer back and we can talk numbers. And I have it fully charged. I can open it up and I can zoom in on some prices and some cards from each of these sets that I talked about in my Sword and Shield investment video recently. I want to go into the cards that I think you should be buying right now that are going to skyrocket in value, in my opinion. And what's the difference between buying those singles as an investment, like buying the alt arts as an investment? And I really emphasize the alt arts because the alt arts are really hard to pull and they fetch a premium and everybody knows it. Everyone's been talking about these alt arts. And I just watched Rattle Pokemon, and I saw some of you guys that are subscribed to me were on that live viewership of Rattle Pokemon, which is a fantastic channel. I would definitely check it out. I am subscribed to them as well. Rattle Pokemon, he opened 500 or more packs of Evolving Skies, and he did not get the alternate Umbreon. To make matters worse, I think he did get 2 alt arts. I know he got a bunch of full arts, but I think he got a Noivern V alt art, which, you know, that's a sick card. But man, if I opened 500 packs of Evolving Skies with the prices these days, he basically in my head he opened like $4,000 worth of packs. So that was crazy that he didn't get a good pull, and that really put emphasis on me wanting to make this video and let you guys know that, like, it might not work out how you guys think it's going to work out. And I just wanted to warn you of that and try and guide people that are new to the hobby and explain how I collected versus how I wish I would have collected versus how you can collect today. If you don't care about the vintage stuff, that's amazing, because I am obsessed with vintage Pokemon product. Anything that's vintage Pokemon, I love it. Even there's a VHS tape up there. Like, I collect all kinds of weird stuff that's Pokemon based, and that's stuck in my garage in bins. But if you don't care about vintage Pokemon product, then, like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. It doesn't matter what I think or what anybody else thinks. If you don't like if you don't care about vintage Pokemon product, don't worry about it. Because there's a lot of content creators and a lot of streamers that have their own opinions, that think it's boring, that think it's overrated, and that's fine. I have my opinions. I have to have a complete vintage collection. That is my goal over the next couple of years, is to build my collection, grow my card business, as well as I will always have a full-time job. So, you know, as much as I'm going to make videos, you know, I don't have an expectation for what this channel is going to do for me. I just can't wait to share with you guys the stuff that I'll be collecting down the road and how it's going to grow with this channel. I'm super excited to share that stuff with you guys. That's why I started the YouTube, to share all this stuff that I was buying for my collection. And then if I got ripped off, I could be like, watch out for this person. And since we were talking about Rattle, I actually have, there's a video that Rattle makes where I talk about don't buy first edition Charizards from a certain seller. I think it was Crunchy Cards. I don't think he's a seller on eBay anymore, but there's scammers out there. There are big money scammers out there. And that's another thing you have to be very, very careful of. When you are buying cards, you're taking a massive risk buying from somebody with no feedback, that isn't known in the community, especially when it's a very high dollar card. You know, eBay does have a money back program. It has always worked for me. I've always gotten my money back if I felt like I was scammed or wronged in any way. But it's very time consuming. It usually takes a week to 2 weeks for that money to come back. And that hurts you. If you spend a couple grand on a card, let's say it's a first edition Charizard and it's fake, and you go through all this, you know, fighting back and forth, arguing back and forth. I'm so glad I'm not constantly collecting stuff right now. Like, I'm glad that I'm focusing on the YouTube, because it can be draining just trying to build your collection. And that's the thing with Modern. That's why I'm saying, if you love Modern and you want to stick with Modern, stick to it. Because Modern, there's not a lot of fake counterfeit stuff out there. These sets are in abundance. They're being printed out the butthole. I can't say curse words anymore. Or at least I don't think I can say curse words. And it's probably a good thing. Probably a good habit to not be cursing all the time on a channel that could be nationally reviewed at some point. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. We're 28 minutes in. You know, it's my rant. You know, I always do that. This is my unfiltered, raw way that I do videos. And some people really have commended me for that. And I thank you guys, because you know, for the longest time, I wanted to figure out how I could get better audio. You know, I had to have a headset. I had to have the mic up to where you could hear me breathing and you could hear the washing machine. I had to have editing. I felt like I had to have everything, the nicest camera, a better tripod, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, just do it. Just start somewhere. And I appreciate you guys supporting me, because now I feel confident to just make videos on the fly. And I know that you guys will appreciate them, despite, you know, the quality of the videos could be a little bit better. It's from my iPhone 14 Pro, but that was a big upgrade for me, and that's why I'm making more content now than ever, because I have a better platform to do it on. Also, lastly, big shout out to everybody on this channel right now. Big shout out to you guys. We are about to hit 700 subscribers. I think it's been like 2 nights. We were just at 600. Like, it's getting actually kind of crazy, like wild to me, because I was like, yo, you're gonna start getting like 5 to 10 subscribers a day now. No, it's more like 50 to 100 a day. And like, that's a whole new territory that I wasn't expecting. That really puts the pressure on me to be more articulate and to be more helpful and to not waste anybody's time. So, you know, if I was editing videos, I could chop things out that I felt weren't entirely necessary. But you guys are getting anything and everything that comes out of my mind that I'm thinking of. And I just hope that these videos are helpful to you guys and that you like them and you will continue to support me and have my back. But guys, holy crap. When I left the gym, we had, was it 660 subscribers? I was like, oh my goodness. Like, this is crazy. We were just at 600. So I think we're going to pass 700 tonight. I do have to cover for someone. Someone isn't coming into the bar tonight. So I do have to go in tonight to cover that shift. And then I'll be working for 4 or 5 days straight. So I'm going to be coming home late every night. Unless I get videos done during the day, I don't know if I'm going to be making any content over the next couple days. I'm going to try. But what was I going to say? If I get home tonight, if I get home at 10:30 tonight, and there are 700 subscribers, even if there are 699, 698, I'm going to make another appreciation video. I will be opening some more Silver Tempest as well as some Brilliant Stars as my appreciation, you guys. You know, and also, who am I kidding? I want to open up some packs. I want to get some cards. But I do want to talk about, you know, and that in a separate video. I want to talk about this community and how we're like kind of obsessed with opening all these packs and what that does to like the dopamine, like on a psychological, mental level, what that's doing to your brain. I really think it's important to do a video on that. You know, to tell people it's okay to take a break from the hobby. It's okay. I've been burnt out in this hobby already in a short period of time, and I'm really glad I stuck with it because I almost just chucked the YouTube entirely. So it's really amazing to be here, and I'm humbled to have the subscriber base and the viewership base that we have. But just God, I'm ranting so hard. Thank you guys so much. And if I get home later tonight and I can squeeze in a video of appreciation, I definitely will do that. You guys make sure to have a fantastic day. In the comments, let us know how you collect. Let us know your strategies. Let us know your thoughts. Give me ideas for my next videos, and I will do them. And I will, if I can remember, you know, I might even start writing down comments and users and write like, yo, shout out to blah, blah, blah. They had this idea for the video, and I am carrying it out. Like, I am blessed to have a community of people that have my back, but also are giving me ideas that are original and refreshing. So, like, whatever comments you guys have, let it rip in the comments section. Let me know, again, how you collect, what your strategy would be. Are you into vintage? Are you into modern? How would you go about that? I hope everybody has a great day. And until next time, I will see you in the next video. Peace!